0 in group play and have been absolutely dominant. 8 goals scored, no goals surrendered. They face FC Pride Elite from Indianapolis, coached by Ian Collins. They went 2-1-0 in group play. They scored 4 goals. They surrendered 4. And this is the second matchup in as many days for these two teams. Yesterday was a 3-0 win for Players Elite. They had 21 shots, 16 shots on target, while FC Pride could just muster up 1 shot on the day. The leading scorer in this group is Alfredo Robles of Players Elite. He is a forward and a player to watch here this afternoon. He will be wearing the number 9 kit for Players Elite. They also have 2 goals from Anthony Caskey here in this tournament. Darian Ghaffari, though, for FC Pride also has 3 goals, so he's the leading goal scorer in this group for FC Pride. He's actually the only player to score for FC Pride in this tournament. He will be wearing the number 1 red kit with the white sleeves here this afternoon. This is a Region 4 versus Region 2 final. Region 4 is the West. That's where Players Elite come from. They won 3 knockout games by a combined score of 9-3. They defeated Gremio FC in the regional final. Final score of that one was 3-2. Their leading goal scorer in regionals was Joel, who had 6 goals in Region 4 games. He has just 1 here in the National President's Cup tournament. Robles had 4 in the region. The game is underway. The leading goal scorer from Region 2 was Max Allen, who had 5. So that's a player to watch for FC Pride. They'll see if they can get him going today. He is also the captain. He's wearing number 15. 2 40-minute halves here in the Under-14 National President's Cup final is how it will be played. If it is tied after 80 minutes, it will go to extra time and penalty kicks to follow. A stiff southerly wind here this morning can come into play, so going into the wind in half 1 will be Players Elite. Wind at their back will be FC Pride of Indianapolis, so take that how you want. It could be looked at as an advantage or disadvantage. Either way, Gutierrez with some hold-up play trying to fight off the smaller defenders around him, and FC Pride comes up with the ball and clears it out toward mid-pitch to Allen. Allen with the ball at his feet, not much support, has to try and draw a foul or make something happen. He's up the sideline and down the middle of the field. Allen's off and underway, lays it off. For his teammate Griffin. And it's out of bounds with a throw-in to Players Elite. Keys for this game's for both teams. For Players Elite, you beat this same club 3-0 yesterday, and you dominated the stat sheet with 21 shots, 16 on target, compared to 1 shot, just 1 on target for FC Pride. So you cannot sleepwalk through this game and just assume you're going to win. This is a national final tournament game. FC Pride's going to be ready to go, looking to avenge that defeat yesterday, and they will be ready to go with this being a championship game. For FC Pride, find a way to generate some possession and take the pressure off your keeper and your back line, as surrendering 21 shots and 16 on target. Not a great recipe for success, but if you can find a way to generate possession and have someone step up on offense and spell out Ghaffari, who has all your goals this tournament, we'll see if a player such as Max Allen can try and step up, who led Region 2 with 5 goals in regional play. All it will take is solid defense. If you can slot home a half chance early and then just focus on your back line being disciplined, that could make this an interesting matchup and give FC Pride a chance. Ball just being played in mid-pitch. Good possession football right now from Players Elite. Looking to build up. They'll come. Right touchline to Muniz. Middle of the field. Ball won by FC Pride, but right back to Elite. Took a heavy touch Hit the midfield of FC Pride. Now Elite's on the break, looking to get it to the middle. Headed on flick toward Gutierrez. Semi-cleared out of the box by FC Pride defender. Now all the way out of the box. There's a foul at midfield on Gutierrez. And he's going to get a talking to by the ref. So the ref early on going to be strict at calling fouls. So another one from Gutierrez could put him in the book early on as he trucked through FC Pride defender. Now taking the free kick just beyond their defensive half, mid-pitch. Just left of the circle. Connor Dowden sends one forward. Cleared out of the box, and now left wing for Brody Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald looks to latch onto his right foot, send an in-swinger into the box, flicked on across, and just far by Ghaffari, who has those 3 goals here in this tournament. So a good start early on from FC Pride. You can see Coach Collins getting into it, as this is a national final game. Again, all it takes is a half chance. You have the lead, and you can play down up the right side now. Players FC, good sliding tackle by Fitzgerald of FC Pride. Headed around, Dowden looks for it. Onto the foot of the number 10, Gabriel Sanchez of Players Elite. He'll swing it out wide all the way across for Sergi Delgado, and it goes out of the reach of Delgado and out of bounds. FC Pride throw in. Throwing in for the Pride is Jaron French. He'll throw it in, goes to the foot of Elite player Anthony Caskey. As now Players Elite trying to play a possession style of game, build up and then get numbers forward. Once you try and break down the defense a little bit with a few passes. Ball eventually ends up squirting out of bounds for an FC Pride throw-in. Headed down by Players Elite and back to the center back, Andrew Darling. Gives up possession at the midfield to David Herrera. Herrera pushes it forward to Gutierrez. Gutierrez looks to break down Dowden. Dowden eventually clears the ball out of there for FC Pride. It is the 7th minute, early on, no chances yet. French gets a good head on it, clears it out of the box, out of bounds. Players Elite throw. Will be Caskey to throw the ball in. Into Sanchez, who lays it right back off to Caskey, and they'll play it all the way back to start the run of play. That ball's going to go out of bounds. FC Pride. Coach Collins takes one and tries to flip it up to his player. Goes back in play. So Coach Collins has some football skills. I saw him juggling the ball out there on the pitch before the game, getting his own little warm-up in. Darling with the throw. That ball's going to sail out of bounds. Andrew Darling throws in. Near touchline, Sanchez now flicks on forward. Sanchez almost ends up with the ball. Now Fitzgerald with possession for FC Pride. Delgado up the sideline for Players Elite. They'll find a crossing, swinging ball across to Caskey. Caskey into Gutierrez, tries to get his man down, sends one across the face of goal. Eventually one of his players latches onto it, but he'll shoot that wide. And no good. Good play there by Gutierrez, muscling through the smaller defender. But can't put the shot on frame. So I believe that was a shot, and he just snap hooked it wide left. Almost ended up at the back post for a tap in, but no one making that back post run. Now Caskey again, the maestro of the midfield, sends one in, and that is going to get by the defender, batted around in the box, pinballing around before finally being cleared. And cleared for good by Fitzgerald. Way down the field, Allen in pursuit. Headed ball out, Allen comes down with it. Up the right wing, being hounded by Sanchez from the midfield. Allen tries to whip one in, and that's going to be out for a corner. An FC Pride corner here early on in the match. Taking the corner for FC Pride will be Brody Fitzgerald. He will set the ball down, and he's going to send in an outswinger. 2 or 3 FC Pride players on the top of the 18. We'll see if that comes into play for a rebound or if that's where they send it. They'll send it in looking for the head of a forward, crowding the keeper, and the keeper comes down with it. For Players Elite, Cesar Pedraza. Good goalkeeping there by him. Jose Munoz whistled for the foul. Brandon Johnson was the player who goes down for FC Pride. Taking the free kick, Andrew Darling. Darling sends a low liner toward midfield, flicked on by Fitzgerald all the way to the back line and cleared out by a knee. Now bouncing around the midfield, looking is Nate Griffin pressing the back line of the Players Elite defense. Players Elite with the clearance, Andrew Darling. Heads it out, chasing out Caskey. And finally gets to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald up the left sideline, good move on his defender. And then a heavy touch ends that run almost before it began. Players Elite sends a through ball for Gutierrez, who's behind the defense, muscles through, and they are going to whistle Gutierrez for a foul as he was trying to get around Connor Dowden, as Gutierrez, at least 6 inches taller than him and in a big body, tried to muscle around him, ends up hooking Dowden around the left shoulder. And they'll get Gutierrez for a foul for being too physical. Flick on Ghaffari. Tried to find someone in the midfield, couldn't do it. Johnson with the ball, FC Pride. Players Elite looking to make something happen on the left wing. They'll send one in toward big-bodied Gutierrez, cleared out by the defense. Back to a Players Elite midfielder who tries to test the keeper from outside. Sends it wide and out of bounds. Goal kick. French heads it, chases down, tries to keep it in. Delgado goes for it as well for Players Elite, and it stays inbounds before being cleared out of this under-14 championship game, scheduled for 2 35-minute halves in minute 13. So there's 22 minutes left in half number 1. And a free kick upcoming for Players Elite as they'll send numbers into the box. Probably going to look to target the head of Gutierrez, tallest man on the field here this afternoon. He's marked by Ghaffari, who's the forward for FC Pride, so he's tracking back, playing a little defense. Players Elite looking to expose the right side of the FC Pride back line. Sanchez dribbles in near the box, and he goes down. And the ball is going to eventually be cleared out of bounds. Official says no contact. Sanchez goes down at the edge of the 18, trying to draw a penalty kick, and the official says nothing doing. And here comes a corner for Players Elite. An in swinger, and it's a good ball into the box. Going up for it was Caskey to no avail, couldn't get it. Players Elite retains possession. Allen in pursuit for FC Pride. Keeper comes out. Good catch by the keeper, Taylor Richardson of FC Pride. Richardson's going to take his time and boot one near midfield with the wind at his back, as that one will sail almost all the way north to downtown Kansas City with this stiff wind. At Richardson's back here in the first half. It's a gorgeous sunny morning, though, in Overland Park. 82 degrees at kickoff, wind from the south at a steady 12 to 15 miles per hour. Gusts in the low to mid-20s. So the wind could definitely play a factor for one of these two teams here this morning. Players Elite from Las Vegas, Nevada, and FC Pride from Indianapolis playing for the Under-14 National President's Cup Championship. As FC Pride will break the substitution deadlock, it will be Michael Sueda coming in for Jacob White. Throw in Players Elite, flipped up by Sanchez, now headed out by the FC Pride defense, French. And French gets a boot on it, right back to Players Elite. David Herrera, who's in the right place at the right time, and he'll play it back and now set up the attack. Jose Dallas with the ball. Lays it off for midfielder Jose Muniz, and then back to Dallas. Dallas looks to make something happen. He goes around two defenders into the edge of the 18. Fake shot. Ball up in the air, deflected. Headed out by Darling. And then finally Gaffari gets on the end of it to clear it out of bounds for a Players Elite throw-in near mid-pitch. Taking the throw-in, Muniz. FC Pride wins possession on the throw-in, then just boot it deep. So Players Elite, after a fast start from FC Pride, Players Elite have had just about all the possession and all run of play. Ball finds the head of Gutierrez. Cleared out by a good toe poke Dowden for FC Pride. Ball in the air. Gutierrez still chasing it down. Tries to turn. Dowden fighting, trying, and wins a foul for FC Pride. Free kick. th minute. Midway through the first half of the Under-14 final match. Gaffari wins a foul and a free kick for FC Pride. Fitzgerald places the ball as he'll be taking this free kick. Look to send an in-swinger into the head of Gaffari or Allen. Two players with good size for FC Pride. He'll swing it in. It's a back post ball. A head on it and a save by Pedraza. So Draws is going to boot this ball deep and all the way into the third row of the bleachers. FC Pride throw-in goes to Players Elite, and Gutierrez, the big body, trying to win the ball again, and another foul. Won by FC Pride. So Pride are doing a good job winning fouls here in the early going, but their set pieces can't win anything off the set piece. Griffin whips one into the box looking for Ghaffari, and it's scooped up by Keep in front of his net. Fitzgerald gets a boot on the kick from goalie and then gets another boot on it toward mid-pitch. And Fitzgerald is beat. Moon is up the right side for Players Elite. Then he sends the ball to a player who didn't make the run that he was anticipating, which was Dallas. Darling clears out onto the foot of Muniz again. Herrera. Mayorga, Sanchez, Gutierrez, save by the goalie. I think the shot was off target all the way, but a good 1-2 there by Players Elite between Sanchez, Gutierrez, and Herrera. A good triangle right there at the edge of the 18, playing one-touch passing. Got a good chance for Gutierrez, but the shot is off target. Keeper was on top of it either way. Here comes Players Lead again. Sanchez breaks down his man in the midfield, gets on the left foot of Gutierrez, back to Sanchez, down in the box, and there is going to be, looks like a foul just outside of the box. And this is going to be just at the edge of the 18 for Players Elite. Sanchez is going to stand over it. Has a few players flanking him to his right and left. Jose Dallas might take a quick touch. It's going to be Sanchez, sends it low, blocked by the wall right out to Kasky. He'll take a left-footed shot, and it's wide all the way. And FC Pride escape a dangerous situation right there. Off the free kick at the edge of the 18. 22nd minute. And FC Pride so far holding strong. Jacob White coming into the game for Fitzgerald. White was one of the starters of this game. He was subbed out earlier, and now he's back in the game. Fitzgerald's put in a good 22-minute shift for FC Pride. Dallas up to Gutierrez. Gutierrez is going to bring this one down on his feet. Gets it to his left, still using his right foot to dribble for the defender out there, Sanchez. And cleared away by Johnson of FC Pride. Gutierrez, ball into the box. Looking, defenders sliding. Herrera in the box, shoots. And that is in the back of the net for a goal. The keeper comes out and leaves the net empty. And that is a goal for David Herrera in the 23rd minute. One 0 to Players Elite of Las Vegas, Nevada. It wasn't necessarily a pretty goal, but all that matters is that the goalie for FC Pride had to pick the ball out of the back of his net, and now Players Elite look to build off that momentum and get forward. Sending ball, looking to latch on to the run of Mayorga. Mayorga now left mid. Sends it for Herrera. Here to Sanchez. Sanchez, Gutierrez. Gutierrez is a man wide open to his right. It's Dallas. He tries to cut across and get it on his left. Can't do it. Gutierrez comes up with the ball. Right foot shot across the face of goal and out of bounds for a goal kick. FC Pride got to get the ball out of there when they have the chance. It's so hard whenever you're just giving up possession, clearing the ball. You know you're going to give up possession at midfield once you clear it, but it's still got to be done. Can't be giving up chances to the quality of Players Elite. That is Herrera's second goal of the tournament. (1-0), 25 minutes about to be gone here in the first half. Subs waiting to come on for each squad. Fitzgerald coming back into the game. Jacob Schneider is going to make his first appearance for FC Pride. And here comes what I'd call a super sub for Players Elite, Alfredo Robles. He had a hat trick in the first game of this tournament. He'll come in for Delgado. And Robles, very capable of scoring. As I said, 3 goals already in this tournament. He had 4 in regional play for Players Elite. Coming out of the game is Allen and Johnson for FC Pride. Goal kick now for Pedraza of Players Elite. He'll set it at the edge of the 6 and just pass it to defender Llanos Jimenez. He'll get it wide right to Muniz. Muniz likes to push forward, and here's a run by Dallas. Up the right side, being chased by Darling. Dallas inside Sanchez. Sanchez taking some good dribbles before being cut out on a pass by Griffin. And cleared by FC Pride. Players Elite gonna win possession again. Dallas tries a flick on Darling. Good job shielding the ball off. Dallas wins it right back. Fitzgerald now in for the Pride as well. Dallas taking on 3 defenders, and he still somehow has the ball. Players Elite getting bounces. Gutierrez in the box. No nonsense clearance for Sam Norris of FC Pride. Players Elite getting a ton of little half chances in the box here in the late stages of the first half. 28th minute, 35-minute halves at the under 14 level National President's Cup. Final match from Overland Park, Kansas. Out of bounds off Efren Mayorga. Throw in to FC Pride. We'll see if FC Pride elects to just take a short throw in and maybe try and gain possession for just a few moments of the game. Take a little bit of heat off the defense. Let them catch their breath, and more importantly than just breathing, you got to rest the mind a little bit. The mental part of the game is so much. When you have to remember every little step of an offside trap, things of that nature, hard contact in midfield. Foul on Schneider of FC Pride as he'll win the free kick for his team. Carson Sams will be coming in for FC Pride. Substitutions Free kick on the defensive side of the circle for FC Pride. Fitzgerald to take it. He'll boot one deep. It's one in the air by Players Elite, and then cleared out. For Dallas trying to win the ball. Fitzgerald flicks one on. French has to run it down from his right back position with Robles in hot pursuit. French is just going to toss it upfield. Fitzgerald at midfield. Now Ghaffari looking to win the ball for FC Pride. Can't do it. Fitzgerald, dangerous sliding tackle. Right in front, the official's going to call advantage. Player shaken up is Muniz for Players Elite. The official's going to give a talking to. I'm pretty sure, I think he gave it to the wrong player, as that would have been a tough card on Darian Ghaffari, who didn't commit the tackle. It's Fitzgerald who committed the tackle, and the official kind of waved the finger at Ghaffari as if to say again, and it's a yellow. So that would have been a tough yellow to take on the player who was not guilty of the foul, especially when that player's your leading scorer and may have to take some aggressive chances later on in the match. Ball scooped up by Richardson. Inside of his 6-yard box, his area, and he'll send it deep. 31st minute. Important for both teams to finish out this half strong. If Players Elite can get a second goal, they'll be feeling good going into the second half. Already feeling good, they'll be feeling better. Players Elite, if they could grab one, tie it up, get some confidence going in before Coach Collins makes some tactical changes. Player goes down in the box. Looked like an obvious dive to try and get a penalty kick. Got to be careful as the officials can card that. Ghaffari's looking to latch onto the end of a long ball, and it's just cleared out of bounds safely by Casca. And a couple more substitutions for FC Pride. Nate Griffin out. Ghaffari out. And Sueda out for FC Pride. Coming back on is Allen, as well as Johnson. And Caleb Gillig makes his first appearance of the late morning. There's Sam's doing a good job to shield off the offensive player, trying to latch on to the end. Get another good scoring chance. 32 minutes played. FC Pride kicks it out of bounds off of Jesus Cruz, a new forward into the match for Players Elite. Hold up play near touchline. Tried to send it through on a 1-2. Again, hold up play, shielding the ball. Good work by Sanchez. Sanchez sends one forward toward Robles. He can't get on the end of it. Now Allen in midfield for FC Pride, and they have a little bit of a break before that's thwarted away by Juan Mendoza. Out wide, Sam's trying to body his man. Ball into the box. Forward goes down. Ball still loose and cleared away by Gillig. Players Elite had a half chance in front of goal. Forward goes down, and it looked like he got clipped, but there's been a couple semi-dives early in the match for Players Elite. And maybe without those, that one gets called, and they're having a spot kick to go up 2-0. As it stands, Players Elite up just 1-0 with the first half winding down, less than a minute left of normal time. Sanchez plays it forward before Dowden cuts out and clears, but right to the foot of Gallegos. Midfield, Gallegos. Sanchez, 1-2 with Herrera. Herrera into the box. Keeper comes out. Ball still loose. Good job by goalkeeper Taylor Richardson committing to coming out. He had the ball and it squirted out of his grasp at the last second and almost fell for a nice juicy rebound for Players Elite. Allen goes down in midfield looking for the foul. Doesn't get it. And that will be the end of the half. In the Under-14 National President's Cup Final, Players Elite leads FC Pride of Indianapolis 1-0. Players Elite looking to finish off this tournament with an unblemished record. They are 3-0-0, and as it stands right now, they've scored 9 times and haven't surrendered a goal yet. FC Pride will try and change that in the second half and get back into the game. 35 minutes away from crowning an Under-14 National President's Cup champion here from Overland Park. The second half of the Under-14 National President's Cup about to be underway. Changing net for both teams here in the second half. Taking the net for FC Pride is Ben Haxton, while Gabriel Sita is now tending the net for Players Elite. Players Elite from Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City has a 1-goal lead. At the halftime break, they beat FC Pride yesterday 3-0 in a game that was dominated by Players Elite. 16 shots on target to 1. FC Pride has done a good job of limiting the shots by Players Elite, but Players Elite has undoubtedly had the majority of the good chances. They have had 1 goal go in and a bunch of half chances. Joel Gutierrez has taken a few really good looks at goal for Players Elite. Just can't be able to find the onion bag yet, as Fitzgerald sends a long ball to start the half toward Ghaffari, and it goes out of bounds. Coach Collins at the halftime break for FC Pride, he really wants his players to anticipate where the ball will be going instead of ball watching. He was preaching to his players, you need to anticipate where the ball is going. Don't just sit and wait for the ball to be played. Know where players, elite players, are going to play those passes and be there a step ahead of them. Try and anticipate, maybe make them turn the ball over at midfield to get a good chance at goal. Of course, both teams switched ends of the pitch at halftime, so Pride's going to be going to the opposite goal and have the wind in their face now. Players Elite going to have the wind at their back. The wind has started to die down, and the temperature has started to rise a little bit here in the late morning hours in Overland Park. If you're unfamiliar with the climate of Overland Park, if you're from a ways away, such as Las Vegas, it is hot like Vegas, but it's a different kind of hot here in the middle of the United States. It is hot and humid instead of hot and dry, so it's hard to catch your breath and dry the sweat off of you. It's hard to keep your body cool. FC Pride with an early little chance here. Ball ends up going out of bounds off of Jacob White. Throw in Players Elite. Sanchez Robles tries to run it down. Headed right down into the turf by Norris, the defender of Pride, and Players Elite going the other way. Fitzgerald with a chance. He's going to fire up a shot, and it's going to be deflected by Caskey, the last defender of Players Elite, and an early save for Gabriel Sita. Save he needs to be making every time, but still a small test. Back to the weather. It's currently sunny, 84 degrees, humidity 62%, heat index of 90 degrees, with, of course, hotter temperatures radiating off this artificial surface here at the Overland Park soccer complex with the black beads that are a part of an artificial turf field. 35-minute halves in the under-14 division. So we will play up until minute 70, and a champion will be crowned unless the score is deadlocked after the 70th minute. Then it will go to extra time, as well as kicks from the spot, the ever-so-dreaded spot kicks. Sita sends one long. Robles plays to his left back, tried to play it up the left wing. To Zamora. Overhead kick clearance by Robles. Allen with the ball, plays it out to left Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald gets under the ball, trying to find Ghaffari on the left wide side. Robles to Zamora. Zamora kind of slowed down. He had a bunch of green grass in front of him, slows down, whips the ball into the box. Players elite. Robles off the chest of Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald does a good job, makes a sliding last-ditch clearance effort for FC Pride. Darling trying to lock down on defense, far side of the field. Into the box now goes Sanchez before it's cleared waywardly by FC Pride, but it's going to be a throw-in for Players Elite, and Mayorga is going to take the throw-in across the field. Players Elite playing with a true three-man back line right now of Kasky, Jimenez, and Mendoza. Then their midfielders drop back and take the wide side of the field and also track back with a little bit of defensive support. Zamora. Ball cut out by Johnson. Now Robles doing work on French. Another defender comes in. Robles lays off Zamora. Tries to get a right-footed shot up and does before it sails out of bounds for a goal kick. Five minutes plus gone in the 35-minute second half. Robles finds the end of a long ball. He's into the box. Tries to cross in left foot, blocked by French. Then finally cleared away. Mendoza, Zamora, Robles, Zamora. Zamora making a positive impact on the game for Players Elite here early on in the second half. He's had the ball at his feet a lot and trying to make plays and break down the right side of the FC Pride defense. French throws in. Sanchez wins it. Players Elite. He'll now turn, make his way toward goal. FC Pride now find themselves with the ball. They try and send one up toward Ghaffari. Ghaffari's going to get on the end of it before it's poked away by a last-ditch defensive effort. Ball goes out of bounds, and it will not go out of bounds. As I'm wrong, it goes into the hands of the goalkeeper, Sita. French heads in the air. Robles wins it. Now Robles on the run for Players Elite. He's got a man left. Instead, he'll take it himself. He's cut down a few yards outside of the 18. FC Pride's going to have a two-man wall. Lining up the free kick for Players Elite looks to be Gallegos. A run over. Gallegos shoots, fires. Good save by the keeper, Haxton. He just has to punch it over the bar as that was a good shot by Gallegos. And that was destined for the back of the net. Had the keep, not got a touch on the ball. Coming in now for FC Pride will be Sueda coming out of the match. At least momentarily is Jacob White. A corner kick, out swinger. Haxton comes out for the punch, gets a piece of it, and it's just enough for FC Pride to clear after the punch by the second half keeper Haxton. Allen runs down the ball, gets Zamora from behind, and they'll either get Allen for the foul or a throw-in. Not sure of the call. I think it will just, go for a throw-in that Zamora will take for Players Elite. Sanchez looks, turns, he's in the right side of the 18, looks to cross in a ball, he's clipped, he's going to keep running, and it's cleared out of play. Took a little bit of contact in the box, did Sanchez. He tried to fight through it, and it allowed just enough time for Dowden to come over and clear the ball out of bounds. For the Region 2 champions, FC Pride of Indianapolis. Headed down by Dowden and then cleared out by the foot of Norris. And Players Elite just doing such a splendid job of winning every ball in the midfield, every 50-50 ball, every ball in the air seems to be going down to Players Elite. FC Pride just cannot get any possession of the ball. Ghaffari now making a run as I say that for FC Pride. He's being chased down by a couple defenders. He's brought down at the edge of the 18. And they're going to award a foul. And FC Pride is the recipient of a free kick at the corner of the 18. Top corner of the keeper's box is where this free kick will come from. As FC Pride will make another substitution here in the 47th minute out of 70. Coming into the game will be Taylor Richardson, who played keeper the first half. And Nate Griffin will be spelled out of the game. For Richardson, they actually did not call a foul. It was just a throw-in out of bounds after Ghaffari went down. Into the box, headed away by Mendoza. Fitzgerald, Dowden. Dowden heads toward some help and can't get it. Now French plays it at his feet. Ahead for Sueda. Looking for Allen. Robles loses possession. Allen, Ghaffari, man on his back. He's going to try and turn on the Jets and get up the right sideline. Defender falls down. Ghaffari, just a heavy touch there at the end. And then it is off Ghaffari. Good play to kick it off Ghaffari after the heavy touch, slightly heavy touch by Ghaffari after he got his defender to slip Mendoza. And Mendoza's comrade comes over and helps him out. That was Zamora tracking back from the midfield to win the goal kick, and now in hockey terms almost an entire line substitution for Players Elite as they bring on a plethora of fresh legs off the bench. Sita to kick the ball away. Send a low liner. Fitzgerald plays a good header. Back for FC Pride. Sanchez. Mayorga. Darling and Dallas fighting for the ball on the right side of the pitch. Players Elite with possession. Up 1-0. FC Pride looking just for any glimmer of hope at a half chance. Haxton kicks, ball in the air. Good clearance by the left back. 3 substitutions for FC Pride. Sams, Jack Wilson, and Nate Griffin come in. Sam Norris, Andrew Darling, and Max Allen check out of the match. Delgado throws in looking for Gutierrez, who's just recently checked in for the first time in the second half, has Gutierrez. FC Pride win a throw-in, 51st minute out of 70. Less than 20 minutes remain for FC Pride to try and find an equalizer. Sanchez tries to find Gutierrez, making an underlapping run through the middle, cut out by French. Not out of trouble yet, though, are FC Pride. Whipped into the box by Mayorga. Cleared out. Mayorga still retains possession. Right foot in-swinger finds the foot of Sanchez. He'll cut in, try and go around French. French tries to get rid of the ball. Mayorga wins it back. Lays it off for Delgado. Delgado, Mayorga, left foot ball in. Cleared out of bounds by FC Pride for a throw. Players Elite living in the attacking third. The last few minutes. Throw into Sanchez. Sanchez gets top of the 18. Cleared out by Dowden all the way back toward midfield. So a good job of staying disciplined and mentally strong by FC Pride during that little run of play. Fitzgerald, now Sanchez for Players Elite. Fitzgerald tried to go over his back and win it, couldn't do it. Sanchez cuts in, ball on his left foot. Looks to shoot, lays it off Mayorga. Left-footed shot of no avail by Delgado of Players Elite. Still very good build-up play and good possession by Players Elite. Ended up with a fairly decent chance. Shot was just off target. Here goes Delgado trying to blister through the back line. Haxton ends up scooping it up before Delgado can cause too much trouble. Over the top, Gutierrez. Haxton does a good job to come out, commit to the ball before Gutierrez can get there again. Haxton with another good save. Kick headed down by Delgado and then won by Sueda. Delgado, left foot ball into the box. Header, good save by Haxton on the back post. Gutierrez ends up with it at his foot and a second goal for Players Elite. A great initial save by the goalkeeper, Ben Haxton, but the rebound went in and was too much to handle for Joel Gutierrez as the celebration is taking place on the other end of the pitch for Players Elite, who now lead 2-0. FC Pride now has backs against the wall with a little bit over 15 minutes left to go. Fitzgerald's going to come out of the game for FC Pride, and he's going to check back in. What an initial save, though, by Ben Haxton of FC Pride on that header by Gutierrez. It was a full extension diving save across the body to his left. The ball was destined for the back of the net, lower 90. But the ball ends up just squirting to the feet of Gutierrez, who blasts home the second goal for Players Elite in the 54th minute. (2-0) with 15 minutes left to go here in the Under-14 National President's Cup Final. The Overland Park Soccer Complex in Overland Park, Kansas. Ball out of bounds, throw in, FC Pride. Sanchez tries to cut into the box before Dowden cuts him out of there. Gutierrez in the box, tries to bring it down with his chest, trying to fight off French. Right-footed shot up and over Haxton and the frames. But another half chance for Gutierrez. He is just very good at using that big body and that upper body strength that he has over the smaller defenders. Delgado now, left top corner, the 18. Cuts in with his left foot. Still with the ball, brought down in the box, and there's going to be a penalty kick. Delgado draws a penalty kick in the box. Brought down by a defender who just caught him with a high leg across the body. And a spot kick now from 12 yards away for Gutierrez, looking to make another goal. Had one goal coming into today in this tournament. Looking to make it 3 and 2 for the day. He runs up to the ball, gives a hesitation. Haxton guesses the right way, but it's just past him and into the back of the net for a 3-0 lead. So goals in the 51st and 57th minute by Gutierrez has really put a stamp on this game for Players Elite. FC Pride now going to bring on 4 or 5 new subs. Subs go take their positions on the field, waiting to resume this game at center circle. Ball out wide, being chased down by Jake Dilling, and it's going to go out of bounds for a goal kick. Good play off the kickoff by FC Pride. Dilling just diligently trying to run the ball down, couldn't quite find it. Ball out of bounds off Sanchez. FC Pride throw in. Little more than 10 minutes remaining here in this Under-14 National President's Cup Final. Foul won by Players Elite. Max Allen whistled for the foul of FC Pride. Substitution awaiting is Alex Zamora again for Players Elite. Players Elite nursing their 3-0 lead here in the Under-14 National President's Cup Final. So time is of the essence, and all they have to do now is hold possession of the ball, not have any mental lapses, as FC Pride have not looked very potent in the attack today, but a lot can be said of the back line and the defense of Players Elite. Now FC Pride, nothing to hold back now. They're just going to send numbers forward along with the kitchen sink to try and get at least one goal to build some confidence and give them a slight ray of hope here in the final game each of these teams will play in this tournament. Caskey to Dallas. Keeper comes out Haxton. He's going to go back into his net. Ball's going to roll out of bounds past the end line for a corner. 61st minute, less than 10 minutes left in the match. Left-footed in-swinger upcoming. Players up. Ball finds the hands of keeper Haxton. And he will send a towering kick toward Max Allen at mid-pitch. Defensed by Mendoza. Allen ends up winning it, but kicks the ball out of bounds, just out of the reach of his teammate on the left far side of the pitch. Throw in, Players Elite. FC Pride coaching staff urging their players to get forward and get at least one goal in this game. Free kick won by Players Elite. Foul. Ball sent into the box toward Haxton, the goalie, and not much of a challenge there as it was right at him. He'll boot the ball toward Allen again. It takes a big hop off the turf and over Allen's head. Gutierrez latches onto the end of the ball. He's coming out. He's brought down. And the ref says nothing doing. Allen, Dilling back to center to Norris. Norris up top, Allen, edge of the 18, being chased by Zamora. Allen looks to play the ball dribbling and loses out to Zamora. Clears up to mid-pitch Delgado. Delgado looking to fly up the left side. He backheel chips it off FC Pride defender for a throw-in. Players Elite 3, FC Pride 0. Under 14 National President's Cup Final. About to be the under 14 national champs. Players Elite. Barring a 3-goal surge in less than 10 minutes by FC Pride. Throw in Players Elite. They will be in no hurry to chase down anything that's kicked or deflected out of bounds. They're more than content just taking their sweet time. All the way back to the goalie, Sita from Caskey, and they'll go out wide right and switch play. Mayorga. Can see the heat starting to rise off of this artificial turf surface in Overland Park as the temp is raised now to the mid to upper 80s in the sun. Heat index in the 90s. Robles in the box, left-footed shot. Good effort from that angle with the left foot of Robles. Aiming for upper 90, near post. Haxton was on it, but still a good effort, a pacey effort by Robles in the 66th minute. Both teams still giving maximum effort. 65 minutes gone, still sliding tackles on each side, hustling to every loose ball. Playing this game as if it's their last, which I guess in a sense it is of this tournament. It's each of their last games. The Under-14 National Champions Cup final. Players Elite in firm hold of that distinction right now. Robles will play it back, and he's just run through by Dilling. And it's going to leave a free kick for Players Elite, and Zamora will hand off that duty to Muniz. Muniz going to send a right-footed ball into the box. Haxton comes down with it. Good goalkeeping by Haxton, who's given up the 2 goals here in the second half, but he has played, given the chances that Players Elite has had. He's had a good half of goalkeeping. Throw in for FC Pride. Right at midfield. Free kick at midfield. Headed away by Caskey. Headed back on for the offensive attack of FC Pride. And just for Pride today, it's just been so difficult trying to push those balls forward against the stout defense and midfield of Players Elite. They just have good attacking options. They have players that can dribble and pass in the midfield. And that takes a lot of pressure off your back line when your midfield can hold the ball for most of the match. So the back line has not had too much of a test for Players Elite. But that being said, they've played very disciplined and well when they have been tested. And that's why they have a clean sheet in this entire tournament. Looking to go 4 losses, no draws. And right now as it stands, they've scored 11 goals and haven't surrendered. Looking for a perfect tournament. Our Players Elite. FC Pride has a few minutes left in them to try and put a blemish next to that clean sheet streak of Players Elite. FC Pride wins the free kick right at midfield. Dallas sends out wide Robles, but it's cleared away by Dilling. Good job by Dilling to hold his ground. Another free kick won by FC Pride. We are now in the final minute of regular time here. Long ball chased down by Gillig. He goes to the corner. It's going to be out of bounds, close to out of bounds. He keeps it in. Good hustle, good effort. But again, Players Elite, they're just too stiff on that defensive end of the field when they've been tested. Few times they've been tested, they've just been too tough. Free kick won by Players Elite with just 15 seconds remaining of the allotted 70. We'll see if there's any added time. And that is going to be it. They're going to call it right now. And that is your final of the Under-14 National President's Cup Championship from Overland Park. Players Elite makes their trip from Las Vegas to the middle of the United States worth their while. They go 4-0-0 in the tournament. They score 11 goals. They give up 0, so they literally had a perfect tournament. They have 4 clean sheets in 4 days, and they beat FC Pride 2 days in a row, the second one to take the championship of the Under-14 National President's Cup here from Overland Park, Kansas. That will be your final, and that will do it for us here at the Overland Park Soccer Complex.